So I like to start with something funny. I heard a cute joke about a man who had a puppy, and the puppy was incorrigible. Did nothing he was supposed to do. No matter how much the man tried to train him, the puppy just did whatever the puppy wanted. So finally, the man heard about an evangelical dog trainer. He was supposed to be even a dog whisperer. So he takes the dog to the dog whisperer, the evangelical dog whisperer, and he comes back in a month, and the dog is sitting so proudly. And he said, well, did you have any? He said, oh, he's wonderful, this dog. He said, watch. So he throws a stick out and says, fetch. The dog runs and fetches and brings it back and sits right at the evangelical dog whisperer's feet. And he says, there's another part of it that I'm forgetting. Anyway, fetch and then bring the dog, the stick back. So the man says, well, can I try this? He said, I know it works for you and the dog's behaving. What about me? And he said, no, go ahead and try. So the owner of the dog says, heel. And the dog runs up to him, puts his paw on his head, and said, you are now healed of all of your sins. So Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, this marvelous movement, he says, like the idea of mathematics or music or any of the exact sciences, because we are not only a religion, a spiritual philosophy, but this is a science. It works if we work it. That's not what Charles Fillmore said. That's just what I said. Okay, so he says, like the idea of mathematics or music or any of the exact sciences, there is an idea of a perfect Christ within each one of us, just waiting to be born again. Marianne Williamson, years ago, I read a quote by her, and she said, make a decision, the beginning of December. Make that decision right now. What are you going to dedicate these holidays to? Will it be dedicated to hurry and rush and cooking and gifts and budgets and expenses? So on the 26th of December, you're saying, oh, thank God Christmas is over. Anybody know about that? Or it can be, not only am I in the human realm of my shopping and my cooking, but this is a time that I'm going to dedicate these holidays to something bigger, to allowing that Christ within, the divinity within me, to blossom and bloom and to nurture it. You know, if we're in a relationship with someone and in love with someone, we nurture it. We call them, we bring them flowers. We decide we look for what they want in life and we try to give it to them. We are in a relationship, the closest relationship we'll ever have, and that is the God within us. You know, it's a universal presence. It's a mystery. God is all around us, this universal presence. But God is all within us, just waiting right now to be born again. To be born is the joy of your life, at the light of your life, as the peace that you will become, that you and I have the invitation to become this Christmas. You know, in A Christmas Carol, where Marley, who was Scrooge's business partner, appears to him and he shows Christmases past, Christmas present, Christmas future. Well, when we look at Christmas past, it doesn't have to be that way. No matter how good it was or not good, this can be the best Christmas ever. And it's not about the gifts we bring. It's about the light within us that will shine and shine so brightly. You know, we see people like Oprah or presidents or whatever that lead these big lives, and we say, well, what am I? I mean, if God, no. Each one of us has our universe. Each one of us has our group of people. Marianne Morrissey always says that we all make an agreement before we were born. And this is not airy-fairy. Charles Fillmore believed this too, about reincarnation. We make an agreement with people before we're ever born that we will meet at some point in our lives. It may be, as Marianne Williamson would always say, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But the group of people that we are with, that's our universe. Our relatives, like them or not, are the group that are around us, our friends. And we get to be that light, the light that shines within us to each and every person that we meet this Christmas. What will they see? When they see us, will they see worry, doubt, fear? Or will they see something beautiful and light? Will we become the living blessing that we are? Not what we were told, that we were sinners coming into this world with original sin. We are the original blessing. That's our job, to be the original blessing this Christmas. In the Gospel of Matthew, he says, unless you become like children, you will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. And what do children do at Christmas? They light up. They're expecting things. They can't wait. They're counting the days. I have a neighbor directly across the street from me, and he goes all out. So I was in LA for Christmas, and when I left for Thanksgiving, he had turkeys all over his yard. Not real turkeys, but turkeys 6, 8 feet tall, all over. I mean, it was one big turkey. It looked like a turkey farm. But so when I came back yesterday afternoon, it was filled with reindeer, it was filled with gingerbread, it was filled with Santa on its sleigh, it had Rudolph. Huge. I mean, these are huge. And the man, one of my neighbors walking his dog, he said, it's just ridiculous the way he does his yard. And then next to him, there are 3 children, twin girls and a little boy who just turned 4. They came out of their house and they lit up like lights. Oh, the awe and the wonder of what they were seeing in Rudolph. And that's what we're to become this Christmas. When we see the Christmas lights, not to say, oh, but to see, that's the light. I am the light. And to have the enthusiasm, the expectation of the child that something wonderful is going to happen this Christmas. And it's going to happen within me, because if it doesn't happen within me, who is it going to happen to? We are the stone that goes out in the ripple. So we have the opportunity to come as children this Christmas. Give me just 1 second. Jesus was so clear. He said, ye are the light. Jack Kornfield, the great Buddhist writer, teacher, philosopher, he said, decide before breakfast every morning this holiday season, what do I want to be this day? What do I want to be this day? Am I going to mumble and grumble, or am I going to go forth and inspire? Because that's our job. You know, Charlie Brown, there's a cute joke, and he goes up to, Lucy says, I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas. Charlie says, Lucy, you're being really nice to me. And Lucy said, well, I thought for the holidays we would see our differences, we would set our differences aside. Charlie says, well, why don't we do that all year long? Lucy says, what are you, some kind of a fanatic? Faith, so it's a hope. It's a hope. It is defined in the dictionary as an expectation. What will our expectations be? Not of others. That's not our job. What are the expectations of us? Who will we be? Who will we become? Will we let that divine spark of sonship, daughtership, move within us and light? Because you know what? There's always that beautiful picture of Jesus knocking at the door. And the door opens from the inside. And it's like that Christ within, that Jesus within us, the Christ. He said, ye are my brothers and ye are my sisters. There's no difference. Will we open that door just a little bit more to let the hope of Christmas, the joy of Christmas, the light of Christmas move out into others? Because, you know, we may be the only people, the only light that some people will see this Christmas. So go forth. The first Advent candle is we have the end of candles? We don't. But this beautiful candle, it's hope and it's faith. That's what unity says for the first year, the first week of Christmas. It is unity, not unity. I'm so glad you put that up so I know what I'm speaking about. It is faith and hope. And the hope is that each one of us will let that door open within us, because within that part of us lies everything, all the abundance, all the prosperity. It is the hope of all the good that is to come. And we are the light and we are the good. Will we be children again and not be looking down when we walk, but look up and see the lights, see the decorations, and rejoice in them? You know, we're not Scrooge. We're not bah humbug. We are the hope of this Christmas. And we may be the hope of anybody we see. You know, my oldest grandson he's just finding himself. And he has made a decision that he has a gay lifestyle. And, you know, there have been friends of his that really, his name is Trey. They said, well, should we call you Teresa now? They made fun of him. And it just broke my heart. And so when he came in, I cry at everything. When he came in, there was so much joy in my heart to see him. And he felt it. And when he came in kind of looking down, when he saw the joy in me at seeing him, he became joyful, because I was recognizing the light within him, the goodness with him. It makes no difference whatever he comes into this life to be. He too is the God within him, within his sphere, and he will do so much good. But the good we do by seeing the light in each other, by being the light that light up when we see people. Again, we may be the only light they see. So we go forth with hope this Christmas, the hope that we truly will be that light of God that shines so brightly. You know, we truly are the chosen ones. We don't go and hear about our sins, we go in and we hear all the goodness that we are, that we have been chosen in this lifetime to come forth as whoever it is that we are. Barbara, Donna, Carla, whoever it is that we are, to shine the light of the Christ candle. You know, the hope, the expectation that I am the light, the hope of things to come, that this will be the very best Christmas, because I will shine light, I will shine love to all that I meet. So we've got hope, and I hope that each one of us, when we see the lights, that we'll become as children again and remember what Christmas is all about. It's not about the gifts, which are wonderful, physical gifts, but it's about remembering that this is our time to be born again. If you are not born as little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. So I don't care if we're 100, or if my son was laughing. He went to somebody's 60th birthday, and he said, Mom, he's an old man. He said, but Mom, at 25, he was an old man. So it doesn't matter what age we are, to be children again, to spread the good news that this is a time of hope and expectation. This is our time to really blossom and bloom and let that light shine within us. The next is faith. Faith in ourselves, not in what we are. Oh, I am a lawyer, I'm blah, blah, blah. It's not a calling card consciousness. This is the faith in ourselves, not in what we are. That's beside the point. It's who we are and whose we are. So remember who you are. The Reverend Michael used to say representation is the representation of ourselves. as truly the God light that we are. Faith is knowing that we have meaning and purpose. And don't ever doubt that. No matter how dim the light may be, your life has meaning and purpose till we take that deep breath. It is the faith in knowing the truth of this teaching, that Christ lives within each one of us. Heaven is not out there. Heaven is within here. And I don't know about you, but I have lived in heaven and I have lived in hell. And the hell is by my own thinking. You know, Charles Fillmore, all of the great metaphysicians in the 1800s and 1900s were all saying, you know, the Christ within it is within us. We are a truth teaching. We have meaning and purpose in our lives, and no one can take that away from us. In Hebrews, the Epistle of Hebrews says, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So it's a faith in knowing that something wonderful is happening this Christmas. Again, I was at my son's for Christmas, and there were 12 of us. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Mile High Church in Denver, or heard Roger Teal speak, but he's retired now. He had 10,000 people on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. That's what we're building up to, you know. That is a fact. But anyway, his wife, they've been married now 37 years. She's just precious. Her name is Erica. And Erica was 27, married her childhood sweetheart. They grew up together. They grew up 2 doors apart. She had 2 children. They had 2 children. One was just 4, and one was just 2. And Mark, her husband, who was also 27, came home one day from work. He said, Erica, I'm not feeling very well. So he went to bed. The next day he was really sick. Went to the doctor, and he was diagnosed with advanced leukemia. 6 weeks later, they were burying him. So there she was at 27 with 2 small boys, wondering, what in the world? Why had God deserted her? How could this be? The love of her life at 27 gone? So she went into a very dark place for a while. One night her sister-in-law came over, and she said, I'm taking an improv class. I'd like you to come with me because there's a lot of joy and laughter. And Erica said, an improv class? She said, I'm barely able to get out of the bed and shower in the morning. Her sister-in-law said, no, you need to come. She said, your in-laws or my parents will come and babysit the boys. So she went to this improv class, not really wanting to go. And she kind of told a story again about Mark. And the teacher said, yes, and. Yes, and. And we did that all this Christmas. It was, yes, this happened. And. It's in the and that we live. Because it could be, Mark died and my life is ruined. Or it could be, yes, this happened. And the best is yet to be. And I have faith that the best is yet to be. So we did that so often through the holidays. If somebody said something, we'd say, yes, and. Where is your and? It can be anything you want it to be, but life doesn't end with a tragedy. Life doesn't end when it seems like it's going to end. God is always more. Reverend Michael used to say, do you take your big problems to your little God, or do you take your little problems to your big God? And then the and. All right, God, this has happened. Now what? And what? What is the next step? So it's a faith in knowing this Christmas that whatever we're going through, it could be sorrow, it could be abundance problems, whatever it is, it's not the end, it's not the period. It is yes and. What is the next step for me? Because if God is present, all is well. One with God is always a majority. You know, Christ lives, moves, and has its very beingness as me and as you. And it's the faith in knowing that no matter what has happened, there's an and there. And I don't ever mean to embarrass Mark, and Mary and David, but it's such the truth. I look at them, and it could have been the end for them. And yet it was an and. Yes, and. Yes, this has happened, and I'm suffering. And God is more than this. Because God is always more. God is in the and. So make it a game this Christmas. We had more fun. And not that we denied Mark. And now, she said 37 years now of being married to Roger Teal. And they've had a wonderful marriage. Better than she could have ever thought her life could be. And not that she doesn't miss her Mark. And she's been so good with her boys and letting them get to know Mark's parents. She's so good about all of that. But her and was a different life. A bigger life, a better life than she could have ever imagined. So practice that this holiday season. Yes, this happened. And how many candles will I light in my life? How many people will I see? And they may not see what they're seeing, but they're happier. They're joyful when they leave us because there's something within us. Just like when I saw my grandson Trey, when he walked in, it was the Tuesday before Christmas, and he walked in with his head kind of low. But the love within me, that is God within me, was so bright and so shiny. I saw the light within him come back on. We have the power. You know, the story of the little girl that wouldn't jump off the diving board and wouldn't jump off the diving board. She was 5 or 6. And finally she jumped off, and she put her hand up in the air and she said, I have the power. And we have that power. No matter where we are, the grocery shop, the driving, within our friends, within our relatives, whether we like them or not, we are still the light. Ye are the light of the world. Have the faith that this is going to be the very best Christmas of your life. And we have the power. Sometimes we feel powerless. That's baloney. We are not powerless. We are powerful. And what is my next step here? Dr. Howard Thurman, he was the first black dean of any college in the United States. He was the College of Theology at Boston College. And not only did he teach Martin Luther King Jr., he also taught his father. So he has written, so if you've never read Howard Thurman, I'm not here to sell books, by the way, but if you've never read him, oh my goodness, he's profound. So he said, this is our task at Christmas. He said, find the lost and heal the broken. Feed the hungry and release the prisoner. And that doesn't mean a prisoner, it could mean a prisoner that's in prison. But those that are still imprisoned with their own doubt and fear, our job is to be that light, be that truth for them, that there's an and for them. And now what? To rebuild nations, because by our very presence, it's not just one person, it's a ripple effect. When we shine our light, when we have the faith, not in God, but of God, that everything is changed. Life changes. People around us change. He says to bring peace among others. That's our job this Christmas. And he says to make music, not only in our hearts, not only let these Christmas carols play so beautifully in our hearts, but see the Christmas carols, see the joy of Christmas in each and every one that you meet. So we go forth with yes, and the best Christmas is yet to be. And so it is. Amen.